All right, friends, it's T-Man. We're back again with a Blaha video. So, I guess in this video, we're going to react to the gym, lifting, recruiting, fitness, gear slave himself, Jason Blaha. Blaha says, if you are gaining muscle, your strength will increase. All right, if you say so. Yeah, your strength will increase. If you gain contractile proteins, yes, your strength will increase. Yes, okay. Myofibrillar growth, yes.
If you gain muscle, you will get stronger. Hey, everybody, it's Jason Blaha here. I thought I would check.
Well, if you gain non-contractile proteins, you're not going to get stronger. But if you gain contractile proteins, here's the thing. Can you gain more non-contractile as opposed to contractile? Yeah. So you really want to gain these contractile proteins, and yeah, if you gain them, then definitely you will get stronger. But if you gain non-contractile, you're not going to get stronger. You know what I mean? Maybe a little bit, but not a lot. Tiny bit.
Chat with you guys and gals a little bit about this today, but a quick reminder, if you guys will please click like down below, be greatly appreciated. If you are not following and subscribed, please do so. And if you will be so kind as to drop a comment down below, I would appreciate it.
I just don't understand this. What is the point of lifting this? You can lift it for 1 rep. Okay. All right. Look at him. He just looks completely stressed out. Poor Blaha.
That so much. Thank you. All right, let's get over to the topic. And I know this is something I do discuss a lot, but we have to.
Have you noticed his physique got worse? It's starting to get worse again. It's starting to get worse. Well, I told you why it's getting worse, because he's lifting concentrically. And he's also eating the slave food diet. He's doing something bad, which is making his physique get worse. And he's accelerated aging.
Understand this relationship, because if whether your goal is to get bigger, whether your goal is to get stronger, people have to
I love this one. Whether your goal is to get bigger or your goal is to get stronger. Well, if you get bigger, don't you get stronger? Bigger objects in this world are stronger, aren't they? Like a bigger car is stronger than a little car, right?
Understand that yes, neural drive and technique matter for strength, but at the end of the day, there is an absolute direct.
He just admitted it. Neural drive, yeah.
Pretty much linear correlation between strength and muscle fiber growth, and it is unavoidable.
Yeah, there is. He's been reading the literature. Okay. The problem is Blaha doesn't know how to build muscle.
And what I mean is, no, getting a bigger bicep is not automatically going to make your bench press go up. What we mean is force production. And this is going to...
What will make your bench press go up? Think about that for a second. What's going to make your bench press go up? Doing the bench press. It's going to make it go up, yeah. It's kind of obvious, right?
Matter for your gym progress, too. So when we study it in the lab, it has pretty much been determined that, let's say we lock your arm into a machine, or we lock your hips and everything down to a machine, and we isolate a muscle, right? So let's say you do a machine curl isolated. You do a leg extension isolated, right? There is no way to cheat. There is no way to change anything. And they test that muscle through a full range of motion. We find pretty consistently with lifters that whatever muscle growth they experience, like if they scan it with an MRI, they can see that the muscle fibers themselves, the muscle tissue has grown. There is a direct increase in the amount of weight they can do when locked into a machine, right? Especially on something like, say, a 10 rep max, right? So let's say we take a weight like that. Your 10 rep max on that locked in leg extension in the machine, when you're strapped down, the same thing on that preacher curl or whatever, that machine curl, when the researchers strap them down and they cannot cheat or move and they can only move the elbow, if their bicep got 10% larger, their 10 rep max will go up about 10%. That's what I'm saying, okay? In isolation. So when a muscle is forced into a situation where there is no skill, there's no way to cheat, there's no leverages, okay? Obviously your individual levers matter, because this is also based on the assumption you didn't have bone surgery and change your arm or leg length in between, you know. You can't change your levers. They're inherent for your structure, right? So what we find is that when it's locked in and that muscle is isolated, it's going to give an increase in strength at the joint level, at the tendon level. So that super strict, locked in isolation where you can't move anything but that joint. It's going to be in proportion, right? If you gained about 5% more muscle, your strength will go up about 5%. If you gained 12% more muscle.
Hold on. If you gain 5% muscle, your strength will go up 5%. Your lift will go up 5%, or your physical strength will go up 5%. See what I mean? Well, your physical strength definitely went up 5%. Now, how much more will your lift go up? Well, what's happening here is your muscle, if you're building muscle, it can, let's say you have a lot of neural drive. Let's say you practiced that lifting, but you weren't building a lot of muscle and it stopped building, but you got better at lifting. You increased more of this neural drive, whatever, androgen receptors, force production, whatever. Okay. But the problem is now you have a lot of force production, but it doesn't match your muscle gains. It doesn't match. See what I mean? But you're still always struggling lifting these weights. They still kind of feel heavy. It's kind of easy, but yet at the same time, it's kind of hard on your body because you have a small, weak body. All right. So what happens when you gain muscle? We know neural drive and muscles, they kind of go together. So what really happens when you gain muscle? Well, you have more matter. That matter makes you stronger. It's like this, for an example. So you have Jupiter and planet Earth, right? Well, Jupiter's bigger than planet Earth, right? It's a bigger planet. So what would happen if planet Earth smashed into Jupiter? Who would win? Jupiter. It would swallow planet Earth because it's bigger. If planet Earth would disappear. Get it? See what I mean? A bigger object is always going to be stronger than a smaller object. Like in arm wrestling, you have this guy Sangashvili, right? Levan Sangashvili. Okay. He just arm wrestled this other guy. I forget his name now. The Italian guy. Aramis, or whatever. Aramis. I think his name is called Aramis or whatever. Anyways, so he arm wrestled him. But if you notice, he's a bigger person. He's bigger. So what if this Aramis guy was bigger than Levan? Would he win? Yeah, most likely, yeah. If he was much bigger, he would win because bigger people are stronger. That's all. See what I mean? Is he bigger than Devin Larratt? Yeah. Why couldn't Devin Larratt take down? He's strong, right? He's got a lot of force production. Ooh, 150 pounds, 160 pounds, or no, 260, 70 pounds, or whatever he's weighing. I think the max he weighs like 280 or 290 or something. He's like 6'6". He's a pretty tall guy. So I think Levan is only like 6'3" or something, but he just looks massive. And the guy's weighing like 400 pounds. You know what I mean? That's, even if he's carrying quite a bit of fat there, that fat on his body is going to weigh him down eccentrically, like with gravity. It's going to make his muscles bigger. Even that weight is going to make his muscles bigger. A lot of people rely on a lot of this dead weight they're carrying called fat, which is causing the muscle to increase, giving them more strength. I've seen guys like this garage workout guy. He's fat. Like he's a big fat guy. And then he's like, look at me do this concentric squat, 550 pounds at 57. Oh, okay. He does it with difficulties. He can barely move. He has no power. He's really slow. But he still squatted it, but he couldn't do it eccentrically. He did it for a concentric squat, a really shitty one at that, 1 rep. But you see what I mean? A lot of his strength is really coming from his body weight because all that fat is pulling him down with gravity, giving him this muscle. It's fake, but whatever, or temporary. It's not fake, but it's what's causing the muscle to expand because it has to compensate for all that fat he's carrying.
So in that muscle, it's going to go up about 12%. There's a direct relationship between force production, and it's particularly the myofibrillar growth, especially your fast twitch fibers.
See, myofibrillar growth, fast twitch muscle fibers, eccentric exercise does that, yeah.
Right? That cross-sectional area determines the force. So it actually, when you look at...
Listen to what he says, that cross-sectional area determines the force. Well, we could gain, we not only can we get in a short range, but we can get in a full range of motion. We can increase our force production. How? Eccentrically. You get these sarcomeres in series, not just in parallel, but in series. So we increase our force. We get stronger. Not only do we get stronger concentrically, but we get stronger eccentrically, where everybody else has failed. They're all weak in the eccentric. They may be good and strong in the concentric, but I know for a fact that 90%, 95% of the people in the gym are weak in the eccentric because they don't train eccentrically. Like Blaha, he's weak in the eccentric, and I can prove it. And it reflects on his physique. His physique screams concentric lifting. Fake. It screams weak. Weak, eccentrically weak, because he has no physique. Look, eccentric exercises build physique. So when you see people with a real built physique, naturally, if it really is natural, you'll know they're eccentric lifters. A lot of their build is from eccentric lifting. Then they have a real physique. It's real muscle. It's real physique. You understand me? But his physique, look at his physique. It looks concentric. It looks weak. Small stick arms. He has stick arms with a fat body and these stick legs. Yeah, it's sarcopenia.
Muscle fibers only give 100% or zero. So anytime you recruit any muscle fiber, that muscle fiber doesn't give partial contraction. It either turns on or it turns off.
Partial?
Look, it's not.
Turns on or it turns off. It either gives 100% of everything it can do or it gives zero. There's no in between. And what we find, and this is what we know, a muscle fiber's cross-sectional area will determine exactly how much force it produces. Okay? For the fiber type. So if we take whatever exact type of flash twitch fiber, we know from person to person that fiber will produce an exact identical amount of force based upon how big its cross-sectional area.
Yeah, it will. It'll make it feel effortless when you move the weight around. It should feel effortless according to the amount of muscle that you built.
How thick it is will determine its exact amount. Okay, because we're all humans. We all have the same basic different muscle fiber types. Okay? So what does this tell us? The strength has to go up when you gain muscle. Okay, so this tells us a couple things. This tells us
I love this. Strength has to go up if you build muscle. If you're building muscle, yeah, but you're not building muscle. If you're building muscle, myofibrillar growth, then yeah, your strength will go up. But here's the thing. What if you're not building myofibrillars? What if you're just getting a repair? What if it's just patching and you're not growing? See what I mean? What do you do then? The question is this. What if you keep coming in now and all you're getting is a repair and you're not really particularly growing? What do you do? Ponder that thought. What do you do?
stuff for people who are trying to gain muscle, and this tells us stuff for people who are trying to gain strength. Now, the obvious one for people who are trying to get bigger, well, your strength is going to go up. Now,
Yeah.
where that gets tricky is guys are like, well, when I gain a bunch of fat, man, my strength goes up faster on the bench press and the squat. Yeah, because the fat helps the leverages.
No, the fat doesn't help the leverages and doesn't make you strong. The fat is like wearing a weighted vest all day on your body. Like that guy they talk about all the time. It gets boring, bro. The guy, Lilo, whatever, Lilo, whatever. The guy that carried the bull, remember? Whatever, dude. Jesus. So you have a thick layer of fat weighing down on your body. Your body compensates by building some muscle.
Not necessarily what we're talking about, right? Because you can use squish on those movements a little bit. But what you're really going to find, especially movements where you can't do that, especially a machine, especially an isolation movement.
Okay.
Okay, if you've gotten bigger, they're going to go up. But yeah, your deadlift and your squat and your bench and stuff should go up. But if you gained a bunch of weight, obviously you know the fat's helping with some of it. But if your weight has stayed fairly constant, you're doing really slow bulk or recomping, you can get a real good idea of how much muscle you gained based on your training. Did you get stronger? And when I say get stronger, I don't.
Yeah, but you might have gotten better at lifting those weights, man. Is he talking about concentric or eccentric lifting? He never really says anything.
Mean necessarily you have to test your 1 rep max. I'm talking about, look, did the weight you
Here's a question. How do I test my one rep max in the eccentric? Do I test it the same way I test it in the concentric? Oh, geez.
been doing 8 reps with go up to 10, 11, or 12, okay? That's a strength increase.
Oh, brother, here we go. Is he pointing? Oh, man, he's pointing.
With the same form, the same technique, same range of motion. Well, that's pretty indicative. Again, keeping in mind some movements, so body fat can help. So if you gained a bunch of fat, okay, fair enough. There's going to be some leverage on some of them. But if you didn't, you can get a real good idea of how much muscle you've probably gained. If you're gaining muscle,
Sure.
you're going to get stronger because the muscles will produce more force. Now, does that mean in exercise you haven't practiced the technique on a big multi-joint and you haven't done it? Then you come around, oh, I got weaker since last time I did it. No, that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about a movement you're training. So the neural drive and skill are already there. Especially when we look at rep work, okay? A little less skill to doing a 10 rep set than trying to do an all-out max, technique-wise. So you're going to see that. And if you're not progressing, it's a really good sign that maybe you're not gaining muscle. That doesn't mean you force progression by cheating. I'm saying, look, did you get stronger or not? You know if you cheat or cheating more or cutting range of motion. Just look at the exercise and see if it's gone up. All right? You'll know if you're gaining muscle. The same thing with the guys who are trying to get stronger. So now that you know this, obviously you have the skill on the lifts you care about. Obviously we have coordination. But you're going to have to get bigger. Right? And if you...
Yes, let's get bigger. Let's lift more reps and heavier weight concentrically so that we can get smaller. Wow, going against gravity. Woo, hoorah. Look at Blaha here, man. He looks like a little kid jumping around. He looks really funny, bro.
You can identify the weakest link in an exercise, then you can build that muscle up too. So if you determine on your bench, you look at,
find the
man, my
weakest link. Yeah, you could build that muscle too. You're gonna build that muscle too. You can't build anything. Whatever, your body has to do it.
Triceps seem to be the weakest muscle in my bench press, and you go do a bunch of hypertrophy work for your triceps. Your bench should go up.
Okay.
Okay. If your pecs seem to be limiting your bench press for good guys chasing strength, and you do some extra different hypertrophy work for your pecs, I don't care if it's incline, dumbbells, dips, whatever, flies, stuff that made your chest grow. If your chest grows, your bench will probably going to go up a little bit, as long as you've maintained the skill and the technique on the exercise. Why? Because muscle size equals force production. And if you know that muscle is your weakest link in an exercise, that's where you're...
Muscle size equals force production. Well, if you don't have enough muscle size in the eccentric, then you're going to be very weak in the eccentric. You're not going to be able to exude enough force in the eccentric in the longer range of motion. And a lot of sports require a longer range of motion. Like, for example, let's just use baseball, okay? So you want to throw a baseball? Well, longer range of motion. You pull your arm back and you throw it. Now, will you be able to throw it a lot faster and stronger if you have a stronger range of motion, these sarcomere and series? Yes. That's the point. That's the idea. Here's the thing. If you have more of these sarcomere and series, they're longer. Can you run faster? Can you sprint faster? Yes. That's the idea. Type 2, yes. See what I mean? You can long jump further, you can sprint faster, you can jump higher. It's kind of obvious. They use it for jumping a lot. A whole bunch of things, bro. You'll be a faster swimmer because in swimming, it requires a longer range of motion. So will your eccentric exercise, will they be a carryover to swimming? Yes, to every sport. It will be a carryover to every sport. Powerlifting, weightlifting, swimming, soccer, football, longer range of motion, football, baseball, every kind of sport, bro. The series is the most important. When you get old, they shrink. You're going to be taking Pilates class. Look at these old people moving around because they lack the ones in series. It disables them. You become disabled.
Going to see the most dividends to the movement going up and getting stronger.
I love this. The dividends. Okay.
Okay? Makes sense, guys? So we have to understand these things. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been.
Think about it. Why would they say in PubMed NCBI that eccentric exercise is superior to concentric for strength, and mass? Why would it be superior when it comes to mass? Because sarcomere in series and in parallel, which concentric doesn't do that at all. Concentric. Now, you are lifting in a long range of motion. So I'm not denying that you may get some there and you're trying to eke them out forever, trying to get a little bit of these, parallels and a little bit of sarcomere in series. But doing a full range of motion is going to take you astronomically forever because it's based on what? The eccentric, not the concentric. The concentric doesn't do anything but ass cheek squeeze your muscles, bro. Get it? So there you go. It's superior in every way. Okay, eccentric. I'll see you in the next one. Touch. Think about that. Like, subscribe, support the channel. Gotta go, dude. I don't want this video to go forever.